Peace, peace, peace. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. For those of you who don't know, it's your boy vicslanghope. I got another story time for y'all. And this one is about the story of the witch that killed my brother. Yeah, y'all heard right. The witch. This woman that used to practice black magic back home. My brother died before I was born. He was about like 2 years old. So it's a very personal story. And it's a little cultural story. So I know a lot of people kind of like, they wanted to hear a little more about my culture, which I am. I'm a black Arab. I'm a Garifuna, Garifuna. For those of y'all who want to Google it, right? And yeah, so I'm gonna get into the story. So yeah, before when I first heard the story about how my brother passed away, I never really believed it that much. Not saying that my mom was a liar, but I didn't really understand how black magic worked, right? For the most part, I didn't even really believe in black magic until I became Muslim and I read it in the Quran. So before I even go into the full details of the story of this witch in our town back home in Honduras, I'm gonna read the passage real quick. And it's on verse 2 in chapter 2, verse 102. And it says, "And they follow what the devils gave out falsely of the magic in the time of Solomon. Solomon did not disbelieve, but the devils disbelieve, teaching men magic and such things that came down at Babylon to the two angels, Harut and Marut. But neither of these two angels taught anyone such things till they had said, We are only for trial, so disbelieve not by learning this magic from us. And from these angels people learn by that which they cause separation between man and his wife, but they could not thus harm anyone except by Allah's leave. And they learn that which harms them and profits them not. And indeed, they knew that the buyers of it, the magic, will have no share in the hereafter, and how bad indeed was that for which they sold their own selves, if they only but knew." So yeah, so this was one of the verses. That's one of the verses talking about magic, right? And so for a long time I didn't really believe, I don't know what really happened, but like when I used to hear about magic and voodoo and all of these different things, right? Some of these things I didn't really believe, right? I didn't believe in like witchcraft like that. I just thought it was a thing, like if you didn't believe in it, you was gonna be good. So let me get to the story, right? So there used to be this witch in our town back home. And she used to, so in order for you to do, black magic to people and to, cast spells or do whatever you do to them, you need something with their DNA on it. So these people usually use things, these witches, right? They usually use things like a sweaty t-shirt or like sweaty, they need something with your DNA, like sweat. My mom says sometimes they'll want like an underwear from the person, like clothing that has like sweat, like maybe socks, maybe underwear, maybe a sweaty t-shirt, toothbrushes, because you brush your teeth, so it leaves some type of some type of your fluid on it. My mother also used to tell me when she used to go places, and maybe if she had her period, that she would take her pad with her, because depending on where you was at, people could use your pad to harm you if they was into the secret arts, right? Witchcraft and stuff like that. So it's very deep. So they use hair too. They use comb. Like if somebody, that's why it's a lot of times people don't be letting people in their house, especially if they from this culture, right? If they do certain things, because they could use your comb, they could use your hairbrush, your toothbrush, your soap, like whatever you scrub yourself with. Like it's deep, man. So anyway, there used to be this witch. She used to go around in the town, in the little town, and she used to collect stuff from people. So like, she used to take bones, like, people put their mouth on bones and stuff like that. And at home, the people used to throw this stuff out the window, so it could like, dissolve into the ground or whatever. It was kind of like, almost like, I thought they thought it was manure or something, or they thought like the animals and the bugs would eat it. So, people used to throw a lot of stuff out their kitchen windows and stuff like that. So they said she used to be going around and getting stuff, like almost trying to get leverage on people. So she used to do these type of things, right? My mother said she used to go like get something, like the stoves used to be a little different back then. So my mom was born in '65, and of course she lived in a whole different country, so it was a little different. But she said the stoves, they used to use like a lot of wood to kind of like cook meals and stuff like that, right? And she said that like that this lady, this witch, she used to go and always try to get like the ashes after like the meals and stuff like that. And she said she didn't really know, like people didn't really know what she was doing. They didn't know if she was just taking the ashes with her or if she was burying stuff in the ashes, right? But some people don't know. They don't know why she was just, I think she was just consumed by the black magic and the secret arts. But she used to just want to have leverage over people, and I think that's a human thing. I think most people want to know people's secrets, or they want to have one up on people just in case things get bad. So I'm thinking this is just some of the things that this lady was doing. So she basically had a lot of stuff that she could use against people in the community. There's also a story that she used to be able to turn into animals. I know some people think it's not real, that the man, you know, but hey, some people believe that she used to transform herself into certain animals. So anyway, my mother one day, she accidentally burnt this lady's dog. My mother said I don't know, she threw some hot water out the window or something, or she threw it down the sink, but the sink had a pipe that just went outside the house, and it would just pour the water out. You know, they don't got like the best pipes and stuff like that over there, at least even at that time. So they said, my mom said the water poured out and it burnt the lady's dog on the backside. Now remember that it burned the dog on the backside, right? So my mother said, like, you know, she didn't do it on purpose, but she said the lady got wind of it, that my mom burned her dog. So what she did was she tried to, you know, she put a little spell together or some she did her little magic trick, and she tried to harm my mother. Another thing, so because my mother was protected, so some of the things that they do in our culture is they combat like black magic with like white magic. So they call them like spiritualists or whatever, but they really like, it's really people that practice white magic. So my grandmother, you know, may she rest in peace. My grandmother, she would always make sure, people always make sure their family is protected. So what they do is, you know, they go contact one of these people that work with white magic, and these people would tell them to you know, buy certain things, eat certain, like, you know, make certain meals, or make certain potions and certain baths and do certain things. They just tell them to do certain things to be protected against black magic. So my grandmother used to do these things with her children. So my mom was protected, and my sister, she was protected too. But my mom said that the weakest link was my brother. And she said that when these people try to like send like missiles, they call them missiles, right? Well, from not like an actual missile, but it's a missile. When somebody tries to send harm your way, if you don't catch it, they're sending like towards you, or like, you know, like those close relatives and your family. So my mom said because she was protected and my sister was protected, my brother got whatever evil thing that this lady did, or whatever she had. I don't even know what she really had, right, to be able to do this. But my mother said my brother caught it because he was the weakest link, and I guess he was too young and he didn't, you know, do the rituals and the baths and the potions and stuff. So my mom said she probably thought like she probably thought my mother burned her dog on purpose. And that wasn't the case, you know, it was an accident. But whatever, she did what she did. And my mother said, like, you know, she was with my brother, and like she realized, she said it wasn't even that long. Like, she said from like 5 in the morning to like 10, I realized like your brother was sick. Like, or she said like she sat him on the bed, and like he just like kind of like fell over. Like, she was looking at him, mind you, she said she never like, it was like this, my brother was always around her, like, or he was around her the whole time, like after that whole stuff happened. And she said that like, when she tried to like change his pampers, she realized that he had like a whole, like his whole like back and butt area was like burned, like, and she was like, he ain't going nowhere, he didn't, you know, but she was saying it was burnt the same way that the lady's dog behind, like hindsight, got burned, right, by the hot water. So she was just like, you know, she didn't put 2 and 2 together at the time. But she said, yeah, it was like very weird, right? Like he had like this whole burning thing. And she said he also wouldn't poop. And then she said like from like 5 a.m. to like from 5 to like 10, like he just got real sick. So she said, you know, they ended up taking him to the hospital, and the doctors was like, nothing was really wrong with him. Like they couldn't, and that usually a lot of times this is how people know something was done to them. because they'll go to the doctors, and doctors really be like, we checked the diagnostics and we did this and we did that and nothing is wrong with them. They can't really explain what's happening, right? And then my mom said then he wouldn't poop. Like, before they even took him to the hospital, she said he wouldn't eat. He stopped opening his, like, he wouldn't even open his mouth. He wasn't eating. He was constipated. He wasn't pooping. Y'all know babies be pooping a lot. So she said he just wouldn't poop. So she said she took him to the hospital. They, they ran exams. They said nothing was wrong, and they was pumping the poop out of him because he wouldn't poop. And then my mom said they tried to stick like the IV, and she said like they would try to put it in his vein, and the IV wasn't moving. So the spiritualist, the person, told my mom that it was too late. That whatever effect the magic had on him, like it was nothing that could be done for him. So my mom said, yeah, and then he just passed away, like, he just died, like, so she said, and after that she had a dream. A lot of like stuff that happened in the culture is like communicated through dreams and stuff like that. Again, this is just like some cultural stuff. So my mother said she had a dream that there was like 3 candles burning under her bed. And she told my grandmother about it, and then they consulted, the spiritualist person, and they told my mom that, somebody did harm to her, and that's how my brother died. And then, yeah, so this lady, so, my brother died or whatever. Her dog didn't even die, which is the crazy thing. But this lady, yeah, she was a wicked lady, man. And the whole town kind of like knew she was a witch, and she was weird. And she used to just be, just be doing a little weird stuff. So I think people was kind of like scared of her in a sense. And they said she used to transform right into like animals. And they said one day she transformed into a pig, but it wasn't no ordinary pig. It was like a weird looking pig. I don't know what this pig might have looked like, but this is just the story. So she transformed into like this weird looking pig. And I think that's how she used to kind of like gather up whatever she used to gather up with people's DNA on it, right? Pose as an animal. So nobody, because of course, if you see this lady walking around in your yard and she's picking up bones and stuff, like you might be looking at her like she look weird, like doing that, like. But so I guess she used to disguise herself, and that's how she used to be picking up stuff to have leverage on people. So there's this thing, right? They say that like it takes when she transformed into a pig, she had to eat some corn. Like they said, pigs like eating corn, so she had to eat like 10 grains of corn in order to transform back. And they said, this person was kind of like, they fed her like 9 grains of corn because they wanted to find out if this was her, because there were stories about her transforming, but like they really, so excuse me, it was like a small town, so people kind of like see each other every day. Like people see each other every day because you go outside, you do things, you whatever. So they was like, they didn't see her, and this pig was weird. So, and they heard the stories of her. So they said this individual gave her 9 grains of corn instead of giving her 10. And then they said like, they didn't see the lady the whole day, right? And then they said like the next day the pig was still there in the yard or whatever yard of the person that was feeding it, right? And they said they realized they didn't see the chick, but the pig was still there, right? So they realized that was her, because the pig looked mad weird. I can't really explain it. My mom said she couldn't really explain it, but she said the pig looked very weird and looked like an ordinary pig. Because over there's a lot of, sometimes you see stray pigs all the time, or stray cows or whatever. So she said it wasn't an ordinary pig, so they kind of like knew it was her. Plus they didn't see her in her regular form like the whole day, right? And this pig automatically was around, like, so it was they put 2 and 2 together. So what they did was they beat fire out the pig, my mom told me. So she was like, they beat like flames out the pig. And they said a few days later, she turned up that she was at the hospital. And they put 2 and 2 together. Like, yeah, the pig got beat. This chick ended up at the hospital, right? Like nobody know how she ended up at the hospital. Then she went missing the day that this strange pig was around. But they say, yeah, like this pig got beat. The pig got beat. She ended up at the hospital. And then they said she ended up succumbing to her wounds, right? So yeah, like people celebrated after this lady died because she was just like, they said she was like hard to catch, man. Like so yeah, a lot of them people, it's a lot of weird stuff that goes on. I got like another story that they got about like ancestors and spirits and all that other stuff, but like this is just a story about like black magic. And there's a whole bunch of other stuff that people do. People like use the secret arts to keep people in relationships. Like, I know stories about like women that do things to men. That's why I'd be afraid to be like even mess with like women in my culture, because like people be doing things to men. Not saying that, you know, Allah even revealed verses in the Quran to kind of like protect you from people who blow on magic, right, or use magic or and stuff like that. So there's always different type of protections. There's always protection. But what I'm saying is that like there's people who be doing things like, I done heard stories of women keeping men like attached to them. By like they do things by putting stuff in their sneakers or they shoes, or they put stuff in their food, just doing weird stuff just to keep them there, or to keep people miserable. Like it's a lot of things that people just be doing. I don't really get too much into it, but black magic is definitely real, and people are definitely using it to harm people, and some people even kill people. A lot of like, you know, so you know, you just hear these stories. But yeah, so my mother, she was afraid a lot of, like, when I was growing up, I didn't know why she was afraid. She used to always tell me wear my underwear is inside out. She always used to tell me like wear my like tank tops inside out, like, and she was very serious about it. I don't know, I didn't understand, you know, like why she was so serious, but she was like, she used to be pissed off. Like if she caught me with my underwears on the regular way, like not inside out, like she would catch a big fit. And I didn't understand till later, till like I really asked her like why she did that, and she said it was a protection. She was just like, another thing she also did, she always bought fishes. She always bought fish for the house. So she said like if somebody tries to attack you or send a missile to your household, if you got fishes, the fishes will catch it. A lot of times we used to just wake up and fishes will be dead, and it'll be weird deaths of the fishes. Like, you know, usually when fishes die, a lot of times they float, and like sometimes these fishes will die and they will be at the bottom of the fish tank, right? Like it would just be weird, like, and it wasn't because other fishes killed them, like, you know, it would just, and my mom would be like, yeah, like, you know what I'm saying, somebody trying to cause us harm or whatever, or like sometimes I like, you know, it would just be a lot, man. It was a lot of weird stuff growing up. There's a lot of stories about the culture and like things that I don't really talk about. But yeah, I'm just sharing the story with y'all, because it's, you know, it's something from the culture, and so it's a lot of people who don't believe in black magic, but it's definitely real, and people are definitely out here seeking it to do harm to people, and I would have never believed in it if I didn't read about it in the Quran. But yeah, by the way, I don't wear my underwears and stuff inside out anymore. But not saying, you know, I'm just saying, I just don't, right? But let me know what y'all think. Like, comment, subscribe, share, and let me know in the comment section y'all thoughts. Y'all have a good one. Peace.